Parked along the street of a quiet suburban neighborhood, I sat nervously drumming away at the steering wheel of my old Honda hatchback. One street over was the public park, where a quick stroll through the tiny patch of woods running along the perimeter of the park would lead me to the back lot of Sandy Shores Community Church. It was a Tuesday evening and the building was empty. I was sure of it. I had been watching the comings and goings of the churchgoers and the cleaning staff for about a month now, and Tuesdays were always dead. Still, I couldn't yet bring myself to get out of my car and go do what needed to be done. I don't even think it was that I was nervous. Sure, I had never broken into a building before, but I had stolen plenty in my time, nabbing the essentials I needed here and there when money was tight. The truth is, I felt pretty bad about what I was about to do. Big box stores were one thing, but the members of the church were nice people. Hell, maybe too nice. Their kindness had improved my life in a tough time, and to return the favor I was going to break in and steal their shit. It wasn't out of malice, but out of necessity, I kept telling myself, not that it made me feel any better. For a bit of context, I had been living out of the back of my car a little over a year when I found my way to Sandy Shores. I really don't want to get into it too much, so let us just say I didn't have the best home life, and got kicked to the curb the day I turned 18. Now I had my car, of course, and a part-time job that covered gas, kept my cell phone on, and paid for a gym membership so I could shower. Things could have been worse, but they definitely could have been better. I was getting by, and that was about it. I tried to save what I could to put towards an apartment and get myself some semblance of stability, but the cost of daily living just felt so high and was making it slow going. I quickly found that one can only do so much doom scrolling before it gets old. Entertainment usually cost money, and I couldn't spend all my free time working out, so I took to just driving around when I got bored. It was on one of these drives when I saw the big array of hand-drawn billboards stuck in the ground. They were spaced every 50 feet or so with arrows pointing off to the next side street. Free hot dogs. Cold drinks. Ice cream. I didn't say no to free. I let the signs lead the way and soon found myself in the busy parking lot of the church. No one would have called it a mega church or anything like that, but the building was quite large for the little suburb it rested in. One long rectangular building with your traditional steeple and stained glass sat along the front of the lot, connecting to a two-story square building in the center of the property. Then another more modern construction ran along the back half of the lot. This newer building seemed to be where all of the action was taking place. Parents sat and chatted at picnic tables while their kids ran about enjoying an array of summertime fun. There were a couple of bounce houses set up in the lot and buckets of footballs, kickballs, and other outdoor goodies for the kids to grab at their leisure. Off to the side, a group of men manned a small line of grills. The lovely scent of charcoal cooked meat filled my nose as I approached. When I was a kid, my parents had occasionally dumped me off at vacation Bible school so they wouldn't have to deal with me themselves. Sometimes it was fun, other times not so much. I learned about sharing from some singing vegetables at one camp, and how I would burn in hellfire at another, so honestly I didn't know what to expect when I showed up looking for my free food. Unfortunately for my conscience, I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, these really were good people. Turns out the building attached to the back of the church was their new gymnasium, and this whole get-together was to celebrate its completion. The first thing they do with their new space is invite the community in, feed them, and give their kids a place to play, all for free. Inside the building, a mix of high school kids and young adults were putting the new gym to the test with an intense game of basketball. I watched from the sidelines for a few minutes before heading to the back where a little old lady with a big smile was enthusiastically handing out plates of food from a concession window. "What can I get for you, son?" the lady asked me as my turn at the window came up. "I'll be glad to eat whatever you give me, ma'am," I answered honestly. "Now that's what I like to hear," she replied cheerfully and handed me a plate filled to the brim. 2 loaded hot dogs, mac and cheese and baked beans with a little bag of chips, the best looking meal I had been given in quite a while. "Drinks are in the coolers along that wall. Grab whatever you like," the woman told me as I thanked her. I grabbed myself a Coke and found an empty folding chair along the edge of the court and sat down to watch some more of the game while I ate. As I was finishing up my meal, one of the dudes from the game ran over to me. He had been playing hard and was out of breath. "Hey man, you wanna sub in? I gotta take a break, I'm beat." "Yeah, sure," I quickly replied. A game of basketball was much better than going back to sitting in my car for the rest of the day. I ended up playing with the group late into the evening. It had been a good minute since I got to just have fun. When we were wrapping up, some of the guys told me that the church would be opening the gym every Thursday for a community rec league and that I should play. I didn't work evenings, so I signed right up. It was great having a weekly activity to burn some time with. It gave me a sense of normalcy again and really raised my spirits, at least for a while. All the guys that played in the league were super friendly and we got along quite well together, and ultimately, that was a problem. Eventually our surface level conversations grew more personal. "What do you do for a living? Got plans for college? What is your family like?" All questions that I wasn't too keen on answering. Deflecting and lying to my new friends brought reality back down on me hard, painfully reminding me of my situation. It was an evening where one of these conversations had left me feeling particularly down on myself that I noticed the door. It was the first time I had parked around the left side of the church. As I got to know everyone better, I started to worry that if I parked too close, my friends might notice the state of my car and find out my living situation. This Thursday the church was particularly crowded, so I looped all the way around and parked along the back side of the building near the chapel portion rather than the gym. We had been going through some pretty bad weather that week and the wind was gusting around me as I hurried back to my car at the end of the night. Then, mixed in with the whistling of the wind, I barely caught the rattles and thuds of a faint banging coming from the side of the church where the chapel met with the building that separated it from the gym. Curiosity got the better of me, so I braved the chilling breeze for a bit longer and went to investigate. Tucked in the corner of the 2 buildings was a shoddy glass door propped closed with a brick. Someone had forgotten to push it all the way against the base, and the door was now being battered back and forth against it and the frame. The door led into a small foyer containing another set of doors for the intermediary building and staircase leading to the basement. I propped the door back closed tight and left, but after that day, I started keeping an eye on that door. Weeks went by and the door never got fixed. It seemed that the church had either forgotten about it or didn't take care. I remembered a couple of the guys had been telling me about the history of the place and how the chapel was much older than the O.